Hello and welcome back to Andy's Bet Club podcast, the podcast where we look at some of the biggest games in Europe and bring you a four-leg bet builder for those games alongside Andy's writers and experts. Today we are once again looking at the high flyers in Manchester United. They are taking a trip to the London Stadium, possibly one of the worst stadiums in the Premier League, to take on West Ham United. A game that looks quite exciting from the outside. Obviously, there's a relegation battle going on. There's a potential push for the top two from Manchester United, but there's only one factor from this game that anyone really cares about, and that's if the man will get a haircut. The United strand is one game away. Will it happen? Only time will tell. Joining me in today's podcast, as always, we've got Andy's Bet Club writers and experts, Robin and Ramis. Fellas, welcome to the podcast. Robin, we'll come to you first, mate. We were just one leg away from the previous bet builder in Spurs versus Man United. Romero absolutely killed us, didn't he?
Yeah, I think the only man more angry with Christian Romero than me would have been Thomas Frank, to be honest. Just a moment of madness from him. And when you've backed Spurs to score once at Old Trafford, you really need them to have 11 men on the park for more than half an hour of the game. And as you say, that killed us. The other three legs at least came in, so that's some small consolation, I suppose. But yeah, unfortunately, we didn't get that one over the line, and we all know who to blame.
Just frustrating for all of us involved that it ruined the bet builder. Ramis, my man, welcome back to the pod. You haven't got a West Ham shirt on. You haven't got a Man United shirt on. You've got, I don't know what shirt on, to be fair. You can let me know in a second. But are you going to be cheering on West Ham in the hope that the United strand doesn't get a haircut? Or are you on the side of the fence that you finally want him to get a trim because you're sick of looking at that, for want of a better word, a terrible Barnet?
I'll start with the shirt. Actually, this is an Algeria kit. I'm not sure what year, but I picked it up when I was on a holiday in Morocco. But as for the game, I'm actually a big fan of Nuno Espirito Santo. I think he gets a very, very harsh rap from a lot of people. I mean, we saw at Forest, he got sacked. He was sacked at Spurs as well. But I think after a tough start, you're starting to see his idea, his imprint of the side, which we know is counter-attacking football, very direct style of football. And I think they've got the right weapons to cause United a few problems here. Bowen and Somerville have looked particularly good over recent games, and this is also a meeting of two of the most informed sides in the league. Obviously, United coming into it 4 wins from 4 under Carrick, and West Ham, their only defeat in their last 5 games was that 3-2 defeat at Stamford Bridge right at the death. So it's set up for a very exciting encounter.
They've found a bit of form, West Ham, haven't they? Which is worrying for me as a Leeds United fan. I'm trying to look up the table as opposed to looking down, but when they're sniffing at your heels, it's hard not to look down and see what they're getting up to as well. As always, Robin and Ramis have worked together to put together this bet builder for the Manchester United versus West Ham game. Ramis, we're going to come to you first for the first leg in this game. What are we going with, my man?
So me and Robin have gone with Jared Bowen, 1+ fouls, 1 at 1.29. This stood out to me a little bit straight away because I thought Bowen would be probably the shortest player in the market to win a foul in this game. He was fouled 5 times in the draw between the sides at Old Trafford. That game finished 1-1, and his direct opponent in Luke Shaw committed 3 fouls in that game. Luke Shaw, just a very interesting stat about him. He's committed a foul in each of his last 16 Premier League appearances. So this is, if you want a direct opponent that's going to be up there for fouls against Bowen, Luke Shaw is the guy. And also just in terms of how I think West Ham will approach this game, I touched upon in the intro how Nuno's style is very counter-attacking. It's very much sit deep, absorb a bit of pressure, and then hit the opposition when there's space behind. And Bowen is the perfect player for that, as well as being very good at winning fouls. He's very good at travelling with the ball, and I can see him and Luke Shaw having quite the battle again here.
Yeah, you touched on that stat about Luke Shaw, which is absolutely outrageous. United, in terms of as a whole, they're not sort of the most aggressive side. I think they're averaging about 10 fouls per game. Is Luke Shaw the one that we're going to be looking at to be the one who is going to commit that foul?
Yeah, definitely. I think but Bowen will know as well that Shaw he's been all right in that left-back role, but I still don't think he's been at the level we've seen from him previously. So I think there is a little bit of weakness down that United side that Bowen could look to exploit. He's also got Cunha down his side, who's played on the left. He's played up front at times under Michael Carrick, but him, again, he's not the most aggressive player in the world, but Luke Shaw might need that support in trying to stop Bowen. I'd also have a look at Bowen to win 2 fouls in this game. That's priced at even. So if you're looking for a single or for something to put in another bet builder, that's also an angle I would take on, considering that he was fouled 5 times at Old Trafford.
He's Mr. West Ham, isn't he, Jared Bowen? Is he the star man for West Ham in terms of who's going to be the one to change the game in their favour this week, tomorrow night? Sorry.
Yeah, definitely. I think from an attacking point of view, definitely. But I'd also say West Ham as a unit, they look a bit more secure. I think Paqueta wasn't totally settled in the side. He's obviously gone off back now to Brazil. And I think now with Castellanos and Pablo as their front two, they occupy defences really well. And that allows Bowen and Somerville to get that space in behind, which they weren't previously getting.
Awesome, love it. Okay, Robin, next over to you, my man. What is the second leg for the Bet Builder?
So myself and Ramis have gone for Crescencio Somerville to have 2 or more shots at 1.67. Now, Ramis has just spoken about the influence that Jared Bowen is likely to have in this match. We were looking at potential for West Ham shots, and Tati Castellanos, another player that Ramis has mentioned there, has been having a prodigious number of shots, but Somerville's our man in form. He's really the player who's stepped up over recent matches and has fired them to giving them this chance of safety. 5 goals in 5 games. He's the first West Ham player since Jesse Lingard to do that, I believe. It's come about despite being moved into a sort of slightly deeper area by Nuno onto the left side of the park. Nuno's moved away from a 4-2-3-1 into a 4-4-1-1, and despite this, Somerville has still managed to thrive. He's had 16 shots across the last 5 games, at least 2 in every game. And his volume has remained consistently high throughout the season. He's had 33 shots in the Premier League this season, which I believe is second in West Ham, which works out at roughly 1.99 per 90. And across his last 13 starts in all competitions, he's had at least 2 shots on 10 occasions. Now, Ramis mentioned a potential 2 fouls on Bowen there, so I'm kind of setting up an alternative bet builder here, but equally Somerville has had a shot on target in 9 of his last 13, and that's available at 2 evens as well. So if you're looking for a higher odds bet builder, then again this is something worth taking into account. And if you equally for this match, he is very likely to play the duration of the game. Now we've got our super sub insurance in play here, but he's only missed 2 minutes of the last 7 games, so the chances are he's going to play the whole match, giving you the full value for this bet.
This is what we do on this podcast, fellas. We give you one bet builder and then the option for another. We're just so kind like that. Robin, you touched there on Somerville's track record in the last few games has been really, really good for the sort of selection that we're going for. Why do you think the bookies have got him priced at such a good price at 1.67 to have the 2 shots?
Well, I mean, he started the season relatively slowly, didn't he? And it's only really been in the last few weeks he's taken off. He hadn't scored before this 5-game scoring streak. So, I mean, I guess they're looking at the weight of the whole season rather than his recent form. And it's his recent form that I'm really going on to back him for 2 shots in this game.
Touched on it earlier. As a Leeds fan, I've seen a lot of this man and what he brings, and fingers crossed he can give us a tick on that bet builder tomorrow night. Okay, Ramis, back to you, mate. What is the next selection?
Yeah, so the third selection we've gone for is the Manchester United goalkeeper to make 2 or more saves, and that's at 1.4. So Sonny Lemons has been in goal for United since the start of the season, and I actually think he's been quite underrated in that role. If you look at the kind of raw data, United aren't the best defensively. They've only kept 4 clean sheets in the Premier League this season. A lot of their games have been end-to-end chaotic, maybe a bit less so under Carrick, but I still think you've got the Fulham and the Arsenal games as good examples of some of that chaos that can be in United's games sometimes. But away from that, I think the confidence that Lamans has given the general United backline has definitely had an impact on how secure they are at times. He's made 42 saves across his 19 starts in the Premier League this season, works out about 2.21 per game. And even though that United haven't improved in terms of the clean sheet numbers defensively, I think it's definitely noticeable that whoever Lamans has in front of him, they're a lot more assured of the presence behind him compared to when they had Onana back there, which was constant theatrics and there wasn't that sort of stability. So I think he's been an underrated presence for United at the back, and I also think his save average is decent enough to allow West Ham to draw at least 2 saves from him here.
A lot of Man United fans are really confident with him. Like you say, there's always been a bit of a circus around the Man United goalkeeper, especially since David De Gea went. And I think they're quite happy with what he's done so far. The bet builder is kind of very West Ham positive. fellas. Ramis, do you think that West Ham are going to be the team that maybe are going to win this game, the ones to push it? Because we seem to be quite in the favour of West Ham so far.
Yeah, I think West Ham really carry a lot of momentum into this game, and you could make the same case for Manchester United, of course. But I've been watching West Ham particularly closely over the last few weeks, because when I personally look at that squad, I think there's far too much quality in it to go down. So I was trying to kind of figure out how they were in the how they are in the situation where they find themselves in. And I think now that Nuno's starting to get his imprint on the side, you're starting to see success. 4 wins from their last 5 games. That included a win over Tottenham away from home as well. So I think there's plenty of reasons to be optimistic if you're a West Ham fan, and I think they'll also have even more motivation and encouragement after beating Burnley at the weekend and seeing Forest lose to Leeds.
Awesome, love it. And then the final selection, Robin, what are we going for the bet builder?
So we are going for both teams to score, which is available at 1.5. Now, there's a simple explanation for this. West Ham have no clean sheet at home this season. Manchester United have no clean sheet away. So everything seems to point to this game producing goals at both ends. So this is perhaps our most pro-Man United bet that we've got. West Ham have been in excellent scoring form. They've scored 2 or more goals in each of their last 5 games. But the flip side is they've also got quite a shaky defence. Now, they kept a clean sheet against Burnley at the weekend, but they still conceded 1.42 expected goals against a team who are, by all accounts, destined to be relegated. And similarly, the previous week against Chelsea, they conceded 1.72. Ramis has already touched on the chaos that, this seems inevitable in Manchester United matches. Or like basketball games. Obviously, we didn't really see that at the weekend because Spurs were reduced to 10 men so early in the match. But equally, the Red Devils have scored in 14 successive games, which is an outstanding run. They've scored at least 2 goals in each of their 4 matches against under Michael Carrick, I should say. And I kind of fancy that to continue, to be honest. I fancy United to be on the score sheet a couple of times. I actually fancy them to win, despite this being a slightly pro-West Ham bet builder. But we've seen them also concede a couple of times against Fulham, and we've seen them concede a couple of times against Arsenal as well. So there's still clear vulnerabilities in the defence. Before the Tottenham game, I spoke about the volume of shots they had been conceding. That wasn't particularly evident at the weekend because of Spurs going down to 10 men. But I expect West Ham, with their strong scoring record at home, particularly recently, to continue the trend and to find the net.
Love it. Awesome. That first line, Robin, by the way, was delivered perfectly. It just needed a mic drop when you said that. It was fantastic. So just to confirm, fellas, the 4-leg bet builder looks like this. We've got Jared Bowen, 1 plus fouls, 1 at 1.29. Somerville, 2 plus shots at 1.67. Man United goalkeeper, 2 plus saves at 1.4. And the final one of both teams to score at 1.5. The combined odds for this bet are 4.07. You guys watching and listening can back the bet by heading into the description and the show notes. We're going to be backing it on Sky Bet, and as always, please make sure to gamble responsibly, and you've got to be 18 plus to get involved. Alternatively, we always say you don't have to follow this exact bet builder. You can head over to andysbetclub.co.uk and check out all the free bet builder stats. There's so much information there for you guys to hopefully pick a winning bet. Thank you for joining me in this episode. We're going to be back again next Tuesday with Champions League action. Real Madrid take on Benfica. Last time we saw that game, the goalkeeper scored. Will we have a leg with the goalkeeper scoring in next week's episode? You're going to have to tune in to find out. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you all very, very soon.